coming to you from the mountain fortress of pop culture. You're listening to Time to Talk.
Sushi roll.
So, welcome to the fortress, Simon and Keaton. How are you both?
Doing well.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Simon and Keaton, can you see baby Igor sitting over there on his perch watching us, our baby dragon?
I'm not sure.
You know why you're confused, Keaton? Because
Yes.
it's not Igor after all, it's Julie Andrews.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, God, sorry, Julie. That's so rude of me. It's the severe shoulder pads. It gets me every time.
Oh,
Gets me
yes.
every time. We're here to discuss the soundtrack to The Sound of Music, which is one of the world's highest-selling albums of all time.
Mhm.
Possibly because they just never stop reissuing the bloody thing. You can hear this soundtrack in English, you can hear it in German, Italian, Spanish, and French. Damn it, there's no Mongolian version. This is outrageous. It was released in 1965, and in the United States, it remained in the top 10 for 109 weeks. I'm not very good at maths.
Wow.
Keaton, Simon, is that 2 years?
I
More
think
than 2
that's
years?
just over 2 years, yeah.
Unbelievable. I wonder if there was an influx of new nun recruits that year. What do you reckon? It's quite possible. I would
Quite
say.
possible, absolutely. They made it look so fun, yeah.
They did. They made it. Even I wanted to join. I wasn't around, but yeah. In the United Kingdom, the Sound of Music soundtrack was, get this, it was the best-selling album of 1965,
Mhm.
1966, and 1968. What happened to 1967, people? What is wrong with you British
I know, what's that
praps?
fluctuation? That's weird, yeah.
I know. It was the second best-selling album of the 1960s in the UK. Do I have one of you want to guess what the biggest selling album of the 60s was in the UK?
Sergeant Pepper?
Well done, Simon. Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah,
the
that makes
Beatles.
sense.
Makes sense. Yes, the Sound of Music soundtrack. It's the only album I can name that has a yodeling track on it.
Mhm.
Unless you include some of Nicki Minaj's messy projects, which of course include
Or
yodel.
the Gwen Stefani album where she sampled that song.
Oh, she sampled it, did she?
Yeah.
I
On
love
Wi-
all the references to the Sound of Music because we've got Kylie. She opened the Fever tour with that. She obviously was in Moulin Rouge as well.
Yeah.
We had Ariana Grande doing that brilliant, is it called Seven Rings, I think?
Yeah, Seven Rings, yeah.
Love that. So anyway, look, I'm going to be quiet now. Keaton, you're a musical fiend. I can only assume you love this soundtrack.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure everyone can agree, but like we all like grew up with this film. We have watched it ever since we were kids, or like when it came out. It really is just one of the most like enduring classics of all time. I think it's such an amazing film. I'm gonna try not to like just spiel the whole time and like gab about it, but like I have so
No,
much
feel
to say
free.
about this film and the soundtrack.
You just spiel away. It's absolutely fine. I've already declared I'm out of my comfort zone with this one. I don't know much. Look, it's quite a strange thing with the Sound of Music soundtrack. I feel like I don't know much because usually when I'm talking about an album, I'll know when it was released, who wrote it, who produced it. This one, though, I know the music probably every bit as well as any other album I care to mention, mainly because it's been in the house since I was born.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
every year they played it on TV. Thank God for streaming and the internet when I didn't have to rely on free-to-air TV anymore, so I can actually make a choice.
Yeah.
Simon?
Didn't really like it for a long time, and then revisited it as an adult, and sort of looked back on it and was like, actually, this is a lot more interesting than I gave it credit for at the time. Because I think all the like Nazi stuff kind of washed over me.
Yeah.
As a kid, so yeah, I mean, it's Rodgers and Hammerstein are probably like my least favorite musical theatre artists in existence, anyway. So that doesn't really help.
Yeah, I mean, well, Roger and Hammerstein basically shaped the face of musical theater as it is and as it was.
I'm
They
aware
created
of that.
the form.
I don't like them.
One more time? Say that one more time?
I said I'm aware of that. I just don't like them.
Yeah. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I think Richard Rodgers has his own specific style of writing. You absolutely know, like, it's his sort of melodic way of writing things, and Hammerstein's lyrics are just brilliant. And I think this score is one of the best showcases of their writing together, personally.
So for the original, I found this interesting. For the original Broadway show, the music was written by Richard Rodgers with the lyrics by Hammerstein.
Yes.
But then he passed away.
Yeah, this was their last collaboration together on Broadway.
Really?
Which is
Wow.
it's very, very sad. I think, if I'm correct, I think Edelweiss is the last song they wrote together.
Oh,
which
cool.
is kind of a somber fact, but it's
Very somber.
Yeah.
Didn't Cinderella happen? I know Cinderella was only TV, but that was 57?
It was 50,
I think, wasn't it? So was that written
57
after?
maybe? No, I think Sound of Music came out in 59 on Broadway.
Oh, did it?
1959.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
People who've tuned in probably think they know most everything there is to know about this soundtrack. However, I've learned a lot here. There were 3 songs from the original Broadway production. First of all, here you go. What an ignoramus. Tim didn't know that this was actually a Broadway production prior to it being a movie.
Yes.
I didn't know that. No, true. But go on, Keaton, tell us these 3 songs.
I've actually done the show The Sound of Music. I played Rolf when I was actually 17 going on 18, so that was very meta. But the 3 songs from the original show are, there's one called How Can Love Survive, which is sung by the Captain, the Baroness, and Max. And there's actually 2 songs with that trio. So there's How Can Love Survive, which is How Can Love Survive is in Act 1, and I think it's actually been forever since I've listened to the show, because I much prefer the film. We'll get into that. But How Can Love Survive, I think, is kind of another rhetorical kind of Roger Hammerstein. You know, like, people will say we're in love, just that rhetorical reiterating the idea thing of, we're so different, how can we make our love happen? And then No Way to Stop It is in Act 2, and that is a very kind of, I want to say, like, antithetical, if that's a word. Like, they're talking about their it's still with the Captain, the Baroness, and Max, and they're talking about, like, the rise of the Nazi regime, and Max and the Baroness are kind of just, like, resigned into it. It's like, oh, well, it's gonna happen, and there's no way to stop it, so we might as well just go on with our lives. And the Captain says,
that's
no.
rather depressing. It sounds like COVID. It could have been.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, but.
By the way, who else wants to kill Max, by the way? Max deserves, a good slap in the face, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, good. Sorry, carry on.
But it's sung in a very cheery kind of, that both, they're like, and it's no way to stop it, they're like, well, it doesn't affect us, so.
Black humor.
Yeah, and then the 3rd song was called An Ordinary Couple, and I'm actually not familiar with that one, because it's now often replaced by what was sung in the film, which is the song Something Good.
Yeah.
And I much prefer Something Good. I think it's more intimate, more sweet. I think I've heard An Ordinary Couple once, and I was just like, the one from the film
I know
is better,
a little tidbit about that. It was played at the reception of Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, which one? Ordinary Couple or Something Good?
Yeah, well, if it wasn't, it should have been.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my little dad joke for the day. It's out of my system now.
Well, at least we got it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, let's hope. I am often fully loaded, so I'm not quite sure myself. What is it about the music of this film that actually transcends other musicals? I mean, I compare it to Grease a little bit. Grease seems to have the same annual resurgence almost, and so does The Sound of Music. It never goes away. Christopher Plummer has recently passed away, so it's seen another spike as well. Very sad. What is it about this music in particular?
Well, I think relating it to Grease, again, it both, not that Grease is terribly family friendly, but the fact that The Sound of Music has so many songs with children and everything, and that the themes are pretty catchy and accessible, I think that has made it accessible for all ages, that anyone can enjoy it. Like, actually, going back to what Simon said, as a kid, I always loved Oh, a Dear. I love those songs and would kind of just like, skip over the Nazi stuff and the romance and everything. But now, growing up, I'm really invested in the romance between the Baroness and the Captain, and then the Captain and Maria and everything, and all the political themes. So I think it's just, it's a film for everyone to enjoy.
So that's the film, but the music, for example, in Australia, we have bikie gangs here in Australia, and I can assure you that if I walked up to the most intimidating-looking bikie with a big black helmet and dark glasses and the big ZZ Top beard, and I said, you are 16 going on, and then put the microphone in his face, he'd go, 17. They'd know. Everyone knows the music. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it's just the tunes are very easy to remember, and they're well constructed too, and the lyrics, I think it's just really accessible is the word I keep going back to, the score.
Simon, you're suspiciously quiet. Are you reciting the lyrics to Do Re Mi in your head?
No. I agree. I think that for me, it's probably why I don't love it as much as everybody else does. I think it's very well written. And I suppose it was kind of, it wasn't a pop musical in style, but I suppose it has that kind of pop vibe to it in the sense that it's very catchy. The songs that are famous are very catchy. I have similar issues with it to my issues with Grease anyway. I think that has a lot to do with just the overhype of the films of both of them.
Sure.
But I know all the words to all the songs. I've seen it a million times. I think that's why it's endured as long as it has, really, as well as the fact that it's quite catchily written and stuff, is because it was so family friendly, because it was one of the biggest films at the time. It won 5 Oscars.
Yes.
And it didn't. I hate to say this, but it didn't have the ethnic minority slant that a lot of the other musicals did at the time that were huge, like West Side Story and things like that. So I think it had such a broad appeal. TV channels wouldn't have been scared of showing it once it became once TV became a thing. Cinemas would have screened it because it didn't necessarily, although it had Nazis in it, weirdly, it didn't have it wasn't like, it's a very, very wholesome, and I think it would have been viewed at the time, it would have been viewed as a much more wholesome experience for the whole family than stuff like West Side Story, which I think is probably better written as a show.
Yes, I agree.
But so I think that's part of its enduring kind of fame, really, as well.
Exactly.
And talking about the soundtrack, you just can't get songs that are more brilliant than this, to be honest. I'm not saying they're my favourite, probably because I've heard them too many times, but they are brilliance personified. If you could write songs like this, you're an absolute genius. And you've got to be a little less cynical to appreciate some of this too. Because, for example, I must admit, there's barely a time that I listen to Edelweiss and don't cry. I find it a very, very lovely song, beautiful song. Not only the song itself, but I suppose the way they capture it in the movie and what it means, and he's reconnecting with his children and his family, and he's finally working through some of the hurt. I'm starting to cry now. It's a horrible thing. Damn it. I am sentimental. And also just things like 16 going on 17 are my favourite things. They're beautiful, sweet songs that actually have so much meaning, believe it or not. They really do. My favourite things, that way that is captured to be like a big hug around young people who might be a bit frightened. And I know that's what they did in the movie, but the song's written that way too. It's lovely.
And I think just the power of the title song itself. I mean, the first thing anyone says when you say The Sound of Music, they all go, "The hills are alive." It's just that little motif, that one little phrase that just gets in your head, and just I just think it's a whole bunch of, again, I keep talking about the film, I'm sorry, but the combination of that song and Julie's voice and the camera work and everything, it just creates a juggernaut of a moment, and it's just amazing what they were able to do with it. I think, I'm not saying it's solely her, not her fault, that's not the word I'm looking for, but I think Julie's voice is part of the major success that Sound of Music had, because she's just so brilliant, so iconic, and it's really hard to picture anyone else sing this song like she did.
A bit like Kylie, Julie's voice. Hang on, here we go. Everyone's gone, hang on. He's about to compare Julie Andrews' voice with Kylie.
I'm ready.
Stay with me. They both have very emotive singing styles.
Yeah.
They both capture the story. You move away from the voice and you transcend into the lyrics. One of the underestimated songs on this soundtrack for me is Something Good.
Yes.
I think it's brilliant.
One of my absolute favorite songs. And again, because Hammerstein passed away, I believe Richard Rodgers also wrote the lyrics for Something Good.
Yeah. Something Good, and I Have Confidence.
And I Have Confidence, I believe, yeah.
I have to admit, I Have Confidence amuses me to death because there is a bit that absolutely wasn't meant to be there in the movie when she's just walking through the gates with her suitcases and her hat, and she literally trips, but she manages to pick it back up. We watch it in freeze frame by frame, and just die laughing. It's very fun.
And she like trips on beat too. It's like, I have confidence, trip it. It's so funny. Yeah.
You know that trick.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh golly, I thought we were the only perverse family in the world.
Oh, I know like every single stupid little tidbit about this movie. I am 100% obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite films ever made. Yeah.
You perform musical theatre. When you perform some of these songs to whatever crowd you're in front of, what's the response usually like?
Yeah, again, so doing The Sound of Music was such a massive like honor to me because we all grew up with it, and I always wanted to play Rolf, so that was an amazing thing. And the crowds really have such a really visceral and exuberant response and everything. And I even remember at the end, because at the end and everything, Rolf turns into a Nazi. So sometimes I would come out and get boos, which I thought was very funny. And I was like, yes, I did my job. I made them hate me. So people are really, really invested in this show, the story, the music, everything. They love it.
Is Ralph the character that has his pants pulled up so tight you can see his whole gingerbread and everything?
No, he's the you're probably I think you're thinking of Kurt, maybe the kid. No,
and his suspenders are just way too tight.
No, Ralph was Liesel's boyfriend. He sings 16 going on 17.
Oh, Ralph is the one who's in the little glass house.
Yep.
Yes. Who turns out to be a traitor, but then he's not a traitor or something, I think.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a semi-Nazi.
He's a Nazi, but he has feelings. Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a punctuation. I like it. Go on, Simon. Free shot here. What are the songs on here that you wish you would never hear again if you had a choice?
Oh, I was about to say what I liked. Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to keep you in your usual frame of mind.
Well, I was going to say that my favourite thing in it is I Have Confidence.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's just because it was added for the film, so it's got like a slightly different tone. But I always loved that as a kid, and I was obsessed with it. I could probably do with never hearing the sound of music again. To be perfectly honest.
Wow.
And possibly Climb Every Mountain.
Ugh.
They bring me out in hives.
The Time to Talk Show is a podcast made by passionate amateurs who simply love pop culture. Unlike other podcasts, we can't raise revenue through traditional advertising, so we rely on the support of our listeners to keep us going. If you'd like to make a donation to Time to Talk, click on the link in the description. Your support will help with our production costs and allow us to keep bringing you content that celebrates, honours and skewers the very best and worst in the world of popular music, film, trends and culture. Thank you for enjoying our shows. We absolutely love our growing legion of loyal listeners. Poor Keaton.
You're like strike one, strike two, strike three. That's what's happening right now. Yeah.
Stunned silence.
Well, we see. I've got a musical theatre background as well, but like, generally, I don't like anything pre sort of 1965 unless Bob Fosse was involved with it. So
sure. Totally.
So
I kind of share that sensibility.
I like The King and I, but other than The King and I, I'm not really hugely into anything pre sort of 65.
Absolutely, yeah.
We must talk about The Lonely Goat Herd, please.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say about it other than I was equally repulsed and fascinated as a child with that part in the movie, and I do hate yodeling.
Well, in the show, the place that Lonely Goat Herd is in is where in the film My Favorite Things is. So that part in the show, that the Lonely Goat Herd is meant to be the song that comforts the kids.
Mm.
But I think, and My Favorite Things is sung between Maria and the Mother Abbess, which as the sort of thing of like, I think Maria's scared to go with the kids, and she, the Mother Abbess is like, no, don't be scared. You can sing this song, which I feel like is kind of weird and juvenile for Maria. So I'm glad that they put My Favorite Things where it is in the film. So in the film, Lonely Goat Herd kind of has no purpose.
I know why the Lonely Goat Herd original, because this is based on a true story, and there was a Maria von Trapp who
Yes,
Julie Andrews
yes.
actually met, and that woman could yodel, and
Mhm.
she actually yodeled unbelievably well. I saw her in a little snippet. It was meant to be a bit of a comic thing, but yeah, she's
Uh-huh.
standing next to Julie Andrews there, and she has a bit of a yodel, and yeah, she's
Yeah, I've
got the
seen that.
pipes to do it.
Yes. I don't know. I like Lonely Goatherd. I think it's cute.
I can't hear it now without thinking of "Wind It Up" by Gwen Stefani. Every time, even when I try and sing it in my head, I just start singing "Wind It Up" because.
Oh, yes. I think, yes. Now I know the song you're talking about. I was like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? But yeah, no, I know the one you mean. Yep.
Which, interestingly, little tiny fact about that song: the reason the sample is there, it wasn't supposed to be. It was recorded without the sample. There was no kind of relevance to that at all. But it had it just had a beat and a bass line. It didn't have anything else to it. And I think it was, someone will probably correct me in the comments, but I think it was Paul Oakenfold was playing it in a DJ set, and he bootlegged Lonely Goatherd over the top of it.
Yeah.
And Gwen Stefani heard about it and was like, that's amazing. And then they changed the song.
I'm going to go and look that up after this. I've got to say, I've got two musical theatre personalities on the line. Can either one of you yodel?
No.
I don't know. I can try.
Go, Keaton. Go on.
Well, like not like true like Maria von Trapp yodel, but maybe
No,
I'll do
just
the
like
one
the
from
song yodel. Yeah.
yeah. High on a hill was a lonely goatherd, lay yodelay yodelay hee-hoo, like that. I don't know.
Wow, that's awesome. Well done.
Lay yodelay yodeloo.
Beautiful. He can do it, Simon. He can do it.
He can. Well done.
Well done.
I have confidence in my yodeling. Yes. No.
Good.
Do, re, mi.
7 sounds, and that's it. And I just think that it's brilliant in its simplicity, if that makes sense.
Where in the movie does a young person get a kick up the bum? Well, so long, farewell. Now, this is a really simple composition. It's, those higher registers and all of that sort of stuff. I think there's only really one main part of the song, like one chorus. This is a great song. I like it. It's good. You would have had to... Oh, no, you weren't, Ralph. I keep thinking you were one of the children when you were in this.
No, my brother actually played Kurt, the one who sings the I leave, and he's the one who sings that high note, which was very funny. And
that's right. One of the boys.
Yeah.
I dread to think what they did to him behind the scenes to get him to reach that note. Shocking thing.
I hope
it's got to be the one with the tight pants, actually, doesn't it?
Yes, for sure. Him.
Aha. It all comes together finally, Simon. I get it now. Makes sense. And Keaton, before we have to talk about Maria as well.
Yes. I don't know why. I just have a soft spot for that song. I think it's really cute, really catchy. I love the brilliant lyricism of Hammerstein. I think really shows in that song with the of liberty gibbet will of the. It's just really clever lyricism and everything. And fun fact, in the film, the absolute legend Marnie Nixon, who is famous for ghost voicing many iconic roles in films. She dubbed Natalie Wood in West Side Story, Audrey Hepburn and My Fair Lady, and Deborah Kerr in The King and I. She actually has like a role, and like you can see her face in this movie. She plays, I think, Sister Sophia, I think is her name in the film. So it's like finally she gets her due and she's on screen. So that's a funny little tidbit.
Simon, how do you catch a moonbeam in your hand?
I don't know. I've always wondered that.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, the world may never know.
How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria was also the title of the BBC.
Yes, I loved that series.
Maria in the Sound of Music that we did over here.
Final discussion point. Should there be a Sound of Music too?
No, I don't think so. No.
Come on. Use your imagination. Where are they now? Did they actually end up getting eaten by the Nazis or not? Never really makes it clear.
I don't know.
Sweet people.
I don't know. They never did find the rest of Hitler. They only found a little bit of his skull.
Oh, God, no.
This has been fun. Thank you for helping me talk about the Sound of Music soundtrack. And before you go, can you give baby Igor a pat on the way out of the fortress? He's looking lonely.
Got it.
Yeah, excellent. See you, Keaton. See you, Simon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.